species is a partial of that property with respect to the number of moles of that species. The constraints we use are constant pressure and temperature. All the other mole numbers held constant. We'll get back to that shortly and get into today's lecture. All right, till now, our focus has been on closed systems. And we start out considering part of the universe of interest, or maybe nothing. What we consider it the same. We call it the system, separated from the surroundings by a boundary, real or imaginary. And we were concerned about energy crossing this boundary, and it turns out that there are two distinctly different paths that energy flow can take. And one is a flow of heat, energy, and transfer between surrounding systems by virtue of a temperature difference between them. Nothing else is heat, and heat is nothing else. Any other form of energy, we've declared a number of them, but they are all equivalent, can be converted one to the other with impunity. So we have the surroundings out here, and the system in there. For these, the state is determined by specifying. All right, now it's the question. How many properties you have to identify? These are always intensive properties. How many properties you have to identify to specify the state of the system? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 180. How many? Depends on how complex the system is. It's a pure substance or a closed system is just 2. For example, for energy, we can write the energy as a function of, say, pressure and volume. If you know the pressure and volume of a system, then you know its state, if it's at equilibrium. We can say a function of pressure and temperature, or a function of volume, temperature and volume, or a function of enthalpy and pressure, or a function of Gibbs energy and temperature, or a function of entropy and volume, etc. If two of those things are fixed, then the state's fixed. All the other properties are determined. For example, if we assume it's a function of entropy and volume, then the total derivative is, by the time-honored traditional formula, the partial derivative of u with respect to s at constant volume times ds, plus the partial derivative of u with respect to volume in constant s times dv. That's just the rule for total derivative, which we studied before. But in this Therefore, since this is also exact, therefore the partial derivative of u with respect to S a constant volume is equal to temperature. We know that. And the partial of u with respect to volume a constant S is minus temperature here. No, that's equal to temperature is right. And this is equal to minus the pressure. Well, similarly, for other state properties, we have things like pH is equal to T ds plus V dP. dA is equal to minus S dt minus T dV. dG is equal to minus S dt plus V dP. These are the other three of those four equations that we remember. Well, from this, we can deduce that the partial derivative of G with respect to temperature and constant pressure is minus the entropy, and the partial derivative of G with respect to pressure and constant temperature is equal to the volume. So keep those things in mind. This is all for closed systems. Now, for open systems, which we must consider, especially in chemistry, we have this scenario. And the system again, that part of the universe on which we focus our attention on. We have the energy out here. We want to go into or pull out of the system. And now there's something else that can cross the boundary. What's that?
Matter.
Thank you. So we have mass or matter. And you say, well, how do we want to complicate it by adding this extra dimension? And the only reason really boils down to the fact that a lot of phenomena of interest and importance for our study take place involve phase changes, or involve something moving from one phase to another. So if you take a closed system that has more than one phase in it, like a solution and some salts, vapor phase, then molecules can go back and forth across the boundaries. And you can take each phase and consider it an open phase. So each phase of a polyphase system, which itself, composite, may be closed, can be thought of as an open system. That's just suggesting why we need to study this at all. For these, the minimum number of variables needed to specify the state is, oh, what's that going to be?
3.
Yeah, but the point is, that I just say mass just mean matter. Doesn't always have to be the same matter. So if you put some sodium chloride across there, it's a different effect than if you put some sulfuric acid across there or whatever. So it's really 2, just as we had before, plus 1, 4, each what? Component. Each component that can cross a boundary. Yes. Well, if we let the number of components just be divided by m, then the minimum number of variables is equal to 2 plus m n plus 2 to fix the state. For example, we have the energy of the system is equal to what? Well, it's a function of, we talk free energy, gives free energy, we usually use pressure and temperature, because those are the features that are central to its use basically. And we have some number of those as component 1, some number of those as component 2, nauseam until we get out to component m. That's not what the function looks like. And the total derivative is dg is equal to, and we use the same rule, differentiate this, partial of g with respect to t at constant p at n times dt plus the partial of g with respect to t at constant respect to p, constant p at n times dt, plus something out of sum of terms, m of them, for m components, is partial of g respect to ni at constant p, t at what? All other n's are held constant, and that's the notation we use with the volumes, and we use the same notation for the energies. It just means to differentiate g with respect to one of the number of moles of one species, holding the number of moles of all other species constant. You can't hold that constant because you're changing it. We call for any state variable f partial f with respect to ni, p, t, and n is equal to fi bar equal partial log of f, which is what I wanted you to remember before we got into this. Now, this partial derivative here is so important in chemistry, and we give it a name. What is that name? Partial derivative of g respect to ni at constant pressure, temperature, and other mole numbers called constant. We call it ui. That's so much easier to write than that. And we name it the chemical rotation. I'll tell you before we're through here today what that means, why Gibbs called it that. And possibly there's a better name for it, but that's the name it has. And it's tell you this much, just in anticipation of that, in physics, where we study spontaneous change, you step off the roof, you fall to the ground, matter flows how in gravitational field, from higher to lower gravitational potential, right? So matter moves spontaneously to lower potential. Electric field, you put a charge in electric field, it spontaneously moves which direction? Toward lower electric potential. You put some chemicals together in a beaker or a pot on the globe, on the earth, and what do? They interact so that each one tries to move to a lower chemical potential. So you see how that works. End of low potential. All right, then for the open system, taking these as a solution, homogeneous mixture, and all of that, you take the most part. That's what we're going to counter. We have dG is equal to partial G respect to T, constant pressure, and low numbers times dT, plus partial G respect to T, constant T, low numbers, dP, plus the summation of U, I, D, and I. Now this is, well, but we know from our old friend dG is equal to minus S dT plus dT. We know that the partial G with respect to temperature at constant pressure, closed system, N is always fixed anyway, so we can put it on there. And this is equal to minus S, and partial G with respect to T, and constant T is equal to D. We know those things. Therefore, we can write this equation dG is equal to minus S dP plus D dP. Now if we stop right there, we've got equation 4 in the memory. Closed system. Okay? And then we add to that plus the summation of U, I, D, and I. Now this is still the equation that works for closed systems because D and I's are all zero in closed systems. So these terms all drop out. But this is a more general result open and closed systems. And it is sufficiently important that I always show my ink and draw a box. Keep it in mind. Then recall that G was defined as H minus DS. So that means that H is equal to G plus DS. That means that the derivative of H is the derivative of G plus T times the derivative of S plus S times the derivative of T. That means in general that DH, derivative of G is that mess up there. It's minus S dt plus D dP plus the summation of Ui, D, and I, and then it's plus D, ds, plus S, dP. Whoa, that one cancels with that one. And we wind up with this beautiful equation. dH is equal to D, ds, plus D, dP. We stop right there, we've got equation 2. Equation 2 of our memorized equations. Under constraints of constant entropy and pressure, the system seeks the states of lowest enthalpy. Because that means they're giving up their free energy. Proceeding to lower its value. But more general, we add on to this, now the summation of U, I, D, and I, and that's another equation for the box. How many more do you think you're going to need? One way ahead of me. That's all right. Keep it generally hard. I'll recall that H is defined as energy plus the PV product. Therefore, the energy is equal to H minus PV product. Therefore, the derivative of the energy is derivative of H minus PdV minus the PdV. Therefore, the derivative of the energy is derivative of H. We know that one now. See, if we memorize those other four, we know his view for it. We know that this is equal to P ds, and then what? Minus P dV, and that's equation 1. Now we're going to allow the system to be open, so we have tag on plus the summation of U, I, D, and I. And that's equation 1. There's just one left. What was that? That was the Helmholtz free energy. Recall that A, by definition, is U minus PS. And I'll just let you show this on your own. Show that dA in general is minus S dt minus P dV plus the summation of U, I, D, and I, and draw a box around. That's important. Got mu I in each of those four equations, chemical potential in each of those four equations. A constant temperature and pressure, dG, is determined by the change in chemical potential. Big matter flows to the lowest chemical potential. A constant entropy and pressure is enthalpy that determines the spontaneity. That constant entropy and volume is the energy that determines spontaneity. Potential runs downhill with the energy. Constant temperature and pressure is the Helmholtz free energy that determines spontaneity. Helmholtz energy goes down as the chemical potential goes down. So I got this little thing I pre-wrote out, and I'll just stick it in there. So look, the chemical potential, which we defined as right. So here's four equations summarized. Combine first and second law equations for any system, open or closed, with m components. We have equation 1 with the U, I, D, and I stuck on it. Equation 2 with it stuck on it. 3 and 4 stuck on it. If all the ni's are 0, the system's closed, and we just have our standard ones. And these are the ones we mainly use. But we can't lose sight of the fact that sometimes you have to do the others. Now these can be integrated only along reversible paths to cover those quantities for any change in any system. Now this box over here, I've just said, notice that the partial of U with respect to Ni, a constant, S, T, and all our Ni's is Ui. So the chemical potential is not just the partial molar free energy. It is the partial molar free energy at constant pressure and temperature. It's a constant molar energy at because those are the terms that determine spontaneity and those pressure constraints. We're going to present that. Okay. Remember I told you that after the second law of thermodynamics would be medium or interesting? I call it trivial. It's a zero from the first law. Did I tell you that? Right. So you'll have this space to look at, ponder, use, and try to reconcile everything that I said. Now, this one should have been next. Note the chemical potential, which has all these various forms. We think of it in terms of the partial order Gibbs energy, which it is, but it has these other forms under different constraints. So as I said before, in the gravitational field, mass is 6 states of lower gravitational potential. Electric fields, charges 6 states of lower electric potential. Chemical fields, matter, that's atoms, molecules, 6 states of lower chemical potential. It was J. Leonard Gibbs who figured this all out. He's one of the big kingpin, big time physical chemists of all time. And master of thermodynamics like none other. All right, so now we're going to take a look at criteria of spontaneity and equilibrium open systems. We've already set the stage for it. We've already told you what the secrets are. Now we just verify those and add some more boilerplate to it. So I've got a barrier between 2 phases. We'll call this Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, and we're going to look at one species that can cross that boundary. Species I, and it's present with the chemical potential mu I. Over here we have species I. Mu I, characteristic of state 2. Now you know what's going to happen. If those chemical potentials are the same, then what? Then that species is in equilibrium. If they're not the same, what's going to happen? There's a driving force for that species to cross that boundary to the lower state of lower. Wow. All right, so to change the state, we can write it like this. ENI 1, ENI phase 2, and some constraints. Specified. That's why we write changes in state generally. Example. If the constraints are constant S and V, then Ui is partial to U, expected I at constant S, V, and N. Then du I is equal to mu I times V N I.
Could you slide the paper up?
Huh?
Yep.
Up. So mu I in state phase 1 is dui species I in phase one, and you get right like that. And DUI in phase two, DUI in phase two, so that delta U, if that changes state, which is always a summation of UI,
Can you move it up a bit? Thank you. Wrong way.
that's all I can do.
There you go.
Alright.
That just made it worse.
It's
Yeah.
equal to UI in state two minus UI in phase one, times D. Now, and this is, so, here's what we have. If the delta UI, that's related to delta U. Delta U. If delta UI is less than zero, then that implies, what does that mean? That it's possible, crossing the boundary for a system to find a steady lower potential. Okay? That means it's spontaneous. If it's equal to zero, what does that mean?
Equilibrium.
It means the highs and equilibrium in those two phases. And if it is greater than zero, what does that mean? That means the spontaneous change is in this direction. Your spontaneous change is in that direction. It doesn't mean that nothing can happen, it just means the opposite's going to happen. Chemicals going to move to the state of lower chemical potential. Well, I can write down. Strains, UI 2 times UI state 1. And if our constraints are S and B, then this is B. If our constraints are S and B, this is BH. If our constraints are B and P, this is BA. If our constraints are P and P, this is BG. If our constraints are U and V, this would be minus PDS. So, what about this? Let's consider a closed system. Comprised of row phases with M complex. In equilibrium are at constant pressure temperature so that the chemical potential will be expressed in terms of free energy. Under these constraints. So how do I draw that? There's our system, but now I like pi, so I'll draw like a pie chart. And each one of those slices of pie represents a phase. They have to be more than one, or we don't have possibility to make these arguments. If necessary, conditions equilibrium to be maintained. Well, what are they? Well, we're neglecting gravitational effects here, so we're assuming the pressure is uniform throughout the whole system. So, pressure in phase 1 is equal to pressure in phase 2, all the way out equal to pressure in phase rho. How about temperature? The zero law says you can't have equilibrium unless temperature is uniform. So, temperature in phase 1 is equal to temperature in phase 2 is equal to temperature in phase rho. How about species 1? Chemical potential for species 1 in phase 1 is equal to chemical potential species 1 phase 2 is equal to chemical potential species 1 in phase rho. How about species 2? Same thing. How about the last species? Species M. Chemical potential species M in phase 1, chemical potential species M in phase 2 is equal to chemical potential of species M in phase 1. How many terms? How many rules is that? That's a whole hell of a lot. Potentially a bunch, right? Is that overstated? Those are necessary, but are those sufficient? Can we specify that equilibrium is established by with fewer conditions, fewer required equalities? Well, yes, we can do that. We're going to see how to do that. Each phase is an open system, and may be pure solid, pure liquid, pure gas, or homogeneous mixture. That's a solution on any of these. So here's what the composition of phase can be. It can be pure substances, it can be pure gas, it can be a gas mixture, it can be solids dissolved in liquids, it can be solid solutions, it can be what? Consider phase of rho phase of rho prime. Consider phase rho prime. At equilibrium at some pressure and temperature. Well, G prime, if the energy of that phase is the summation of number of moles of the species Gi times Gi bar. That's the number of moles Ni prime times Bi. I don't have to put a prime on the Bi because they're in equilibrium. That chemical potential is the same for that species everywhere in the system. If it wasn't, it'd be going, or it was either lower or backing away, or it was high. Now this is Euler's theorem, using Euler's theorem, which we developed back when we talked about volumes. This is an aside. Prove that. Now we're just saying that's true for free energies as well. plus the summation. All right. Yeah. Plus the summation of mu I times v n I prime. And I call that equation one. So we want somewhere here. But recall earlier today where we had G for anything, could be the prime phase as well. It's equal to minus S prime dp plus B prime dp plus the summation of Ni prime plus the summation of mu I prime, mu I d n I. That was our equation, one of the four equations expanded for open systems. Times I call that equation. Now, notice that these are the same. Therefore, we can equate the right-hand sides of those two equations, 1 and 2. Those drop out, and we wind up with the right-hand sides, and we wind up with this. S prime dp minus B prime dp plus the summation of Ni prime d mu I. This is equal to 0, and that's equation 3. How many terms in that equation? Well, one for temperature, one for pressure, and one for each species. So that's I is equal to 1 to m. So m plus 2 terms. The important thing is we have one such equation for each component, or we have m equations, and we have row equations, and m plus 2 variables.
We lost you on the page. Thank you.
That makes sense. We have an equation like this for every phase, the row phases, with m plus 2 variables in each equation, so we have a set of row equations and m plus 2 variables. Well, that allows us to figure out what the variance is, how many degrees of freedom there are under various conditions. Number of degrees of freedom, which is sometimes called the variance. I just usually write as F. I know I've used F for other things. F for freedom is equal to, what did you learn in math class, at your algebra class? Equal to the number of variables minus 5 minus the number of independent equations. If you have two things you're trying to determine, two different things you're trying to determine, how many independent relationships you have to determine both of them. You have to have two equations, right? If you have three, you have to have two. If you have four, you have to have four. If you want to find two and you got three relations, you're over specify. You don't need three, you take any two of them. If you want to find two and you have just one equation, you're dead in the water. So F is equal to, in this case, the number of variables is m plus the number of equations in the row. And this is accelerated. Keep staying. So let's take a minute and talk about some examples. Pure substance. Simplest system. Pure substance has m equal 1. The variance is m plus 2 minus rho is equal to 3 minus rho. So how many phases could you possibly have in equilibrium for one pure substance? You could not have more than 3. But if you had more than 3, it would give a negative variance. And we see that on phase diagrams. Well, first I'll say, pressure, temperature, phase diagram for substance. We've drawn several of these up here before. We talked about critical state. We talked about the solid phase equilibrium. This is solid. This is liquid. This is vapor. I've got 3 phases. Now, the number of phases equilibrium on pressure and temperature and the number of degrees of freedom. And go to the table here. Now we've got 1 phase. How many degrees of freedom? This is equal to 3 minus rho, so it would be 2. Well, where's somewhere on the diagram? Where's 1 phase? 1 phase here is solid. Can we change the temperature to keep the pressure constant? Absolutely. We still have solid. Can we change the pressure to keep the temperature constant? Absolutely. We still have solid. 2 degrees of freedom. What if we have 2 phases in equilibrium? Now we're down to 1. Whoa! Can you change the temperature and keep the volume constant and still have 2 phases? So now we're on a line here, and we can move up and down that line. That's 1 dimension. It may curve, but it's still 1 dimension. So we can move up and down this line, or up and down that line. 1 dimension. Can we have 3 phases and 0 degrees of freedom? Absolutely. Where's that? That's right here. 1 point, called the triple point. This diagram. For water, that diagram looked at something like this. So we have solid, liquid, and vapor, and it's not drawn to scale. This is one drawn to scale. Critical point is 218 atmospheres. This is down to 0.06 atmospheres of vapor pressure of water at the triple point. Now, if you have water ice, liquid water, and water vapor in equilibrium, then by God, the temperature is 0.01 to 0.098. 0.098. That's a reproducible temperature. Anybody can make it. Here, most of the glass things I used to bring in and show my students have been broken. And I don't have a way to make any more of them because our department shut down this glass shop. But this one we made from our laboratory years ago. It's a triple point cell. And you can see what it is. There's water in there, and there's a thimble down in it, and it's been pumped out, sealed off vacuum, the water was frozen, it was a vacuum, then when it thawed out, there's some water vapor above it, liquid water. Where's it solid? Ain't none yet. So how do you make solid? Well, you put this down in some insulation, put some real cold stuff in there, like dry ice, and alcohol. Bring it all down to the freezing point of the water, and when you get there, ice starts building up on that bevel on the inside. And you do that for a while until you got a good heavy layer of ice on there. And then you put this in an insulated box and let it all just come to equilibrium. Put some alcohol in that tube, which won't freeze at that temperature, stay liquid. And all the zero processes will all come to equilibrium, got good insulation. And when it does, the temperature of that alcohol down there is the temperature of the system with ice, liquid, gas, is triple point. And you can calibrate your thermometers, your plant resistance thermometers, whatever. So, here's another phase diagram, no carbon dioxide. It has those same features on it, solid, liquid, vapor, a triple. Here's one for sulfur, and it's more interesting. And all these phase diagrams get more interesting when you take them to extreme conditions. This isn't even extreme conditions. Here we have solid rhombic crystal sulfur and a triple point. Here's vapor. Here's liquid over here. But now you get to a certain temperature under appropriate range of pressures, and the solid form transforms into a different crystal form. And we talked about that when we calculated the enthalpy, molar enthalpy of sulfuric acid. We had the different temperatures. We'll go through that. There's an example. And then there's a liquid phase and vapor phase. So we have two triple points here, and the third one up here. So a triple point is not unique. It's unique for, you tell me what the species are and phases are. And then, okay. Well, how about another example? Well, we have two components. Two components. Then the variance is equal m plus 2 minus rho is equal to 4 minus rho. And so you might have something like sodium chloride water system. What's the maximum number of phases we could have? 4. It's 4. Can you think of a way to set up a system of water and salt and have 4 phases in equilibrium simultaneously? Well, here's just a suggestion. You have some liquid, it's saturated. Sodium chloride. Here's a lump of sodium chloride. And here's a lump of ice. And here's vapor. And there are 4 phases. And that's a quadruple point. You set that up and do that, you got a quadruple point. And you can imagine it with double point, sex double point, whatever. You know, you have to live in the state for sex double points for me. Anyhow. These phase diagrams get very, very interesting, and they are the lifeblood of some activities for a lot of chemical engineers, and I expect you all know a lot more about phase diagrams than any of us know. And these are the basis of it. So, let's consider the do that. No, I have one more page I want to show you. Water. Water is different from everything else in the world. That's a bit of an overstatement, but different damn near than everything else. And there's only a handful of things that you can
freezes from the top down.
Pardon me?
It freezes at the top.
Is that when water freezes, instead of the solid being more dense and sinking to the bottom, it's less dense than the first time? Now, how many other things do that? You don't know any. Alcohol doesn't do that. Gasoline doesn't do that. Wax doesn't do that. None of those does that. Now, why should we care? Well, I care because without that property, there would be no life on this earth, certainly as we know it at all. It would not be. Let's take a while. Alright. So the earth's got a long geologic history. And there was a time when there was no water, and then there was a time when some water appeared, and there was a time when the water was all in the gaseous phase, and then there was a time when the water was all in the solid phase, and most of the solid phase. Like, then there was a time when there was liquid. And we're fortunate to live in that time because we got that. Well, what do you read about? People looking for life elsewhere in the universe, and they say that you gotta have the gold rock conditions, you gotta have conditions where water can exist, gold does stuff, they can make it solid. And that's a pretty narrow range. And probably do have that, who knows? Alright, so here's the earth, it's got water, and then we have seasons. We have winter, we have summer, spring and fall. What happens in winter time? It gets cold. It gets cold enough to turn water into ice? Oh yeah. So you would do that where it gets cold and stuff up the surface. You'd have ice storm on the surface of the oceans or the lakes or whatever. And if it were denser, it would all sink down. It would thaw. It would melt just like now, but over millennia, it would chill that water down till finally it was sinking down and lying on the bottom. And then the next winter, more would come down and lie on that. And then more and more and more and more, and the oceans would freeze from the bottom up. And then seasonally, not even a little film of maybe a little film of liquid on the surface, maybe not. Not how far I'm going to get over there. So that's one reason. There are other reasons that have biological factors importance in chemistry of living organisms. I won't talk about that. But I'll tell you one really important. This is that every 4 years we have an opportunity to watch these very talented young people put on these ridiculous things on their feet, essentially dull knives, and get out on this very sticky stuff called ice and skate around. And of course, the hockey players, you see that anytime. But the figure skaters and figure dancers and all, you can see those every 4 years from the Winter Olympics come on. So why is that? Why the hell can't you just put those things on your feet and go out and skate on concrete or polished marble? Yeah.
Because when you increase pressure, ice can change to water.
Whoa, and what happens when you increase the pressure on concrete or marble? It just gets harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason. So if we increase the pressure, and what do you do? You've got a lot of weight on a very thin compact patch down on the ice. You've got a lot of pressure down there. You got a little stuff melts, and it's sticky as hell, and you just go sliding on. So that may be the most important reason. All right, consider lines on a PDT phase diagram. I'm just going to look at a portion of the diagram now. Pressure and temperature, and there's one of these lines. Doesn't matter which one it is. It can be going up or down, right or left, flat, straight up. Doesn't make any difference. We have phase 1, phase 2, and those equilibrium lines between them. So if this is the pressure, then this is the temperature. And if we raise the pressure a little bit, temperature, appropriate amount. Yeah, something like that. So at equilibrium, D and T, we can write this chain of state. A in phase one goes to A in phase two, minus delta G, because that's what we're interested in, to determine spontaneity under these constraints. Now delta G is equal to delta H minus T, well, delta H minus delta TS in general, but it's equal to delta H minus T times delta S at constant temperature. And delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S is equal to 0 at equilibrium. How do we know that? Hell, we spent a lot of time proving that when we talk about criteria of spontaneity and equilibrium. Constraints are constant pressure and constant temperature. If the system's at equilibrium, delta G is 0. Or you can move on a reversible path from equivalent states at equal energy. All right. So we know that. Then we can consider another state change, A. Phase one, A, phase two, and it's going to be at pressure P plus Dp, and temperature P plus Dp. We move from there to there, that's just a differential. Yeah. So we have minus, what? We have minus delta G plus the derivative of delta G, and delta G plus the derivative of delta G still must be 0 at equilibrium. We maintain the equilibrium. But this was already 0, because it was 0 right where? It was already 0 right there. Therefore, D of delta G is equal to 0. Run out of paper there.
We didn't
D
get,
of delta G is equal to D, delta G is G2 minus G in phase 2 minus G in phase 1 is equal to 0. So D of G2 minus B of G1 is equal to 0. Delta dG is equal to 0. A lot of stuff. So at equilibrium, we have those conditions, and we know dG is equal to minus S, dG of 2 minus S2 dt plus V2 dt. That must be minus S1 dt plus V1 dt. Yes. I have to be quiet at this moment for this day only, so I'll try to finish a little bit of this. So we can rewrite this, and rewrite it E2 minus V1 times dt is equal to S2 minus S1 times dt. Or we can write dP over dt is equal to delta S over delta V. And these are the phase transition. So I'll just put these subscripts on to remind us of that. And this is not quite a partial derivative, it's similar to it. Somebody writes saturation. This means that if you keep the phases, you don't destroy one phase, you stay on that equilibrium line. And this Well, delta S is always an integral of dq reversible over t. Delta S of transition, that's melting or evaporating or freezing or phase transition at a constant temperature or pressure. That is reversible. That's delta H transition over temperature. So we have dP, dt,
We lost you.
Scoot it up.
saturated conditions is equal to.
Excuse me, Professor. We lost you.
That's all right. It's equal to delta H over T delta V transition. And this is the Clapeyron equation. And I can't overemphasize that it is an exact equation. And that tells us that the slope of lines on these phase diagrams is determined by the enthalpy of transition and the volume change of transition. And of course, the next thing I do is calculate some of that for you, and I'll do that when I see you again.
Guys, we made it through lecture